works after the first arriving unit. The incident was called under control. The fire was extinguished. All patients have been transported off the site that needed transport, and we concluded our emergency operations. During the incident, we had 8 total patients that were contacted by EPFD personnel, our EMTs and paramedics. They were all assessed. Out of those 8, 5 were transported to local area hospitals, and 3 we obtained refusals and refused transport. Out of those 5 that were transported to local area hospitals, 2 of those were continued care and transferred to burn facilities in Phoenix, Arizona. And that's all we have. The investigation, as far as the investigation of the incident, it's still underway. We're not going to answer any questions as far as cause and origin today. That investigation is still underway. Due to the condition of the building, it's going to take a little bit of time for our investigators to get through all the rubble and being able to complete that thorough investigation. And that's all we have. I'm going to turn it over to Anthony Ducay.
Thank you so much, Mayor, Fire Chief. Good afternoon. My name is Anthony DeKaiser. I'm the director. First, I want to thank the first responders, the city leadership, and the community for their support during this difficult period. We are deeply saddened by this fire, which has injured 8 of our City Metro members. Our thoughts are with the employees and their loved ones. While we are limited to the information that we can share about our employees, I can tell you these Sun Metro team members worked in our maintenance facility. As mentioned today, our priority is in supporting our employees while stabilizing operations to deliver essential public transportation services to the community of El Paso. We will continue to work closely with the emergency responders and city officials to address the damages and to determine the next steps for restoring operations for the city of El Paso with transit. To support our employees, we are providing them with access to medical care, counseling, and assistance with accommodations as needed. Sun Metro runs over 100 buses daily. This fire has impacted our ability to operate at a full-scale operation. We know the scale-back services has caused inconvenience to our customers. We appreciate the patience of our riders as we work to restore operations. Monthly, Sun Metro provides approximately 600,000 rides. We know that for many individuals, public transportation is their primary and only means of transportation to get to and from their destination. We will continuously evaluate where we're at to increase operations and increase our services for the city. Currently, Sun Metro is running Sunday holiday service for most routes while we work fully to restore operations. To better connect riders to their destination, the Brio lines are operating on a modified Sunday schedule that starts early in the morning. These modifications, I'm going to list them all for you here, just so you know. Routes 205, the Mesa Brio, starting at 6 a.m., which normally started at 8, but we moved it to 6 a.m. to accommodate some of the school students and the people trying to get to work early in the morning. We changed it from 8 to 6. And that is with the 20-minute frequency. Route 206, the Alameda Brio, we also moved that starting at 6. Route 207, the Dyer Brio, it's also starting at 6 now. And Route 58, the East Side Connector, is also running. And then we also have some routes running on the west side that we started up. First we started with Sunday service, starting at 8, then we moved that to 6, and then we also added some routes on the west side because that wasn't being covered very well. And so that's Route 5, the Far East Side Transfer Center Express. Route 6, the Far East Mission Valley Center Transfer Center Express. Route 8, the Gateway Circulator. Route 11, Mesa to Vista Kern Place. Route 12, Dolphin Circulator. Route 13, Coronado Hills Circulator. Route 26, 5 Points, now Alameda Express. Route 54, RC Poe, Vista Montwood, and Route 56, RC Poe, Far East Circulator, and Route 9, Park and Ride West Side to East Side Express. This information is also available on the website, so please help us share this vital route information with the public. As we move forward, it is our intent to increase service to get back to full service, right? We continue to reassess what we're doing and what the resources we have to get back to full service. So as that changes and we increase, we'll put that out through social media. We got our outreach team. We're going to have our outreach team and all of our transit supervisors out at the service stations. On the monitors out at the transit stations, we'll be putting that out up there, and we'll also put it out through social media. So as we make adjustments and increase our service as we go back to full service, we'll do everything in our power to let the public know so they can have a dependable service as we increase back to normal service to be able to get to their destinations. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, we can open it up for any questions that you may have. I will ask that you go to the mic because we have some people that need to hear you ask a question. Please.
Mayor Johnson and others, I wanted to ask, we're getting told that one of those that were injured from that fire and explosion has passed away as of yesterday. Are you able to confirm that and the condition of that person and possibly any others that were injured?
Good afternoon. Just because of the respect that we have for the families and their individuals, we're not releasing any information as far as the status of any of the employees that were transported or their condition.
Hello, Aaron Montes, KTP. What is the estimated damage of this incident, but also what kind of assistance will the employees who are injured seriously and critically get, and how long do you expect your investigation to last?
So for the investigation, we're planning for this investigation to last a couple of weeks. Just because of the current state of the building, we don't have damage estimates currently. Again, we want to be able to complete the entire investigation before we make any assessments or damage, place any dollar amounts to that. As far as the employees and the assistance that they're receiving, I'll defer that to Mr. DeKaiser.
So right now, the assistance that the employees, again, I'm Anthony DeKaiser, the director for Sun Metro. So right now, the assistance that the employees are getting, like all of the employees for Sun Metro are getting the ability to talk to healthcare providers. We're bringing those in and bringing them on site in case anybody has any concerns that they might need to talk to a mental health care. They also have the ability to come in and fill out workers' comp so that any injuries that they may have sustained in the incident are covered by Sun Metro, or the city. So any injuries that are related to this will be covered by the city who's self-insured.
Hi, Lauren Bly with ABC7. How many buses were damaged that were used in rotation? And does that continue to change route times? How long are people going to continue to change their daily transportation route?
So the amount of buses that were in the bay were 14 buses. But really, that doesn't really have anything to do with the amount of the changes in the schedule. The changes in the schedule were based upon Sun Metro being able to provide safe buses for transporting our citizens. That has to do with being able to do the services and make sure the buses are safe. And so you have an amount that has to be ready for pullout, and that's 105 buses. So we have to assess the situation, make sure we have maintenance facilities and maintenance personnel and the other resource ready to put those buses on the street. The reason for the decrease was to ensure that that's in place in order to increase the number of buses that we can put on the street safely for transportation. In the near future, we're going to continue to increase services until we can get back to full services.
And Mayor Johnson, you said keeping the public informed. How are you going to keep the public informed? I mean, we're getting a lot of questions. This news conference took 2 days to put together when some cities have taken 2 hours.
Yeah, so this is, as you can imagine, this is a very active scene, and there's a lot of investigations that fire still needs to go through. So we want to give it enough time that we can get all the information that the public needs, and we will make sure that as soon as we find out the information, we will give that to the public, and you guys should know. But again, it's an active scene. It's something we didn't expect to happen, and we're dealing with a lot of investigations, and they're still doing that. So as soon as we find out more information, we'll pass it on to you.
And what safety protocols do you have in place?
And so, Anthony DeKaiser, the director for Sun Metro. So there's a lot of things that come into play when you say safety. But Sun Metro is guided by many safety regulations by FTA and some by the Railroad Commission. We are inspected on a regular basis by the FTA, also by the Railroad Commission, and there's other agencies that regulate us. But we also do our own internal safety inspections on a regular basis. And I can tell you that we just completed an internal safety inspection on the maintenance bay just a few weeks ago. And we have our annual inspections and our semi-annual inspections, and all of those inspections were up to date. We have a robust safety team that is on site and continues to do safety inspections and inquires and updates on a regular basis.
And what's the average cost of the regular bus versus the Brio bus?
So the average cost of a 35 to 40 foot bus right now is somewhere around $1 million, and the average cost of a Brio bus is somewhere around $1.4 million.
Diego Mendoza, El Paso Matters. Any sense of the materials that burned in this fire, whether any hazardous pollutants or chemicals were involved that could affect the air quality for the immediate area?
So I'm going to defer that to the fire chief.
Yes, sir. Jonathan Killings, El Paso Fire Department. So this being a maintenance facility, there are a number of mixed chemicals within that facility. One of the good things that we had that worked in our favor for the environment on that day was the winds. So a lot of that material would be dispersed, and the direction of the winds would go off into the desert. So we have on scene, as this in this case, as is many cases, our hazardous materials response team that responds to these fires, and they're able to make sure that air quality is monitored, and that if there's any dangers or anything that needs to be evacuated downwind, they would have done that during that incident.
And then for Sun Metro, what steps have you taken to ensure there's not a similar event at other Sun Metro facilities?
So as in this case and in any other case where there's an incident or accident, Sun Metro does a full investigation and looks at all the things that we can do to mitigate any accidents or incidents that occur. So again, this is an ongoing investigation. The city safety is doing an investigation. We'll do our internal investigation, that's after fire, and the insurance people come in and do their investigations. So we'll take all that, we'll put it all together, and we'll figure out the way ahead to try to mitigate this or anything like this from ever happening again. I'd like to also say, this is an isolated incident, and it's never happened, nothing like this ever happened in the history of Sun Metro. So again, very unfortunate, but we're going to take all the steps and precautions to find out what happened and mitigate the circumstances so that it doesn't happen again.
Chief Killings, I have a question for you. I was told that the bus fell on a compressed natural gas tank, and that's what the explosion and chain reaction explosions were created. We're not sure if a person or someone put a bus up wrong or the lift failed, but this is according to a firefighter that responded to that fire. Can you confirm any of this or share any information regarding this?
No, because that's all part of the investigation. So as we continue to go through the investigation and continue to interview eyewitnesses, they'll put together an entire cause and origin packet, and that'll all be determined there. But I'm not going to talk about the investigation.
And when will eyewitnesses and employees be interviewed?
So our fire marshals and fire investigators were on scene minutes after the initial pumper companies were on scene as well. And they started interviewing and talking to employees before they were released to go home on that day while the incident was still going on.
And then a question for Sun Metro. We're also being told that some of the employees, not sure which ones, were rookies being trained as well. Can you confirm any of that information?
I'm sorry, they were what?
Rookies, people being trained on the job.
So, again, that's part of the investigation, so I'm not gonna go into that until the investigation is done. But I will say that, Sun Metro's always hiring people, and people are always working, throughout Sun Metro. So, again, I'm not gonna comment exactly on who was working or who was involved in the incident, because we're waiting for all that to come out in the investigation and respecting the individuals, that were involved in the incident at this time.
And I know right now there's going through repairs. You guys are gonna have to fix what obviously is ruined. Will this cost taxpayers more money? Would taxpayer dollars be used to make those repairs?
So, again, some of this is going through investigation. The city is self-insured, so there is insurance. Once the investigations are done, some of the answers to your questions will be fleshed out in that, and we'll have more information in the future. Once that information is available, and we can make that information available to the public.
One more. Just technical question, Chief. The collapse of the roof, is that due to just the strength of the fire hose, or was it already like that when you all responded?
So, on these types of buildings, they're a tilt slab construction building, and usually when fire impedes on the roof structures, especially if it's driven by natural gas or some other form of accelerant, it'll start to weaken those structures, and we usually see building collapse, anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes into the incident. As the investigation goes forward, we'll be able to confirm some of those things and make sure that, that's exactly what happened.
Last question?
Can you all say how many employees or staff were in the general vicinity at the time?
I'll let Mr. DeKaiser talk about that.
So on the day of the incident, we had about 129 or 130 individuals on the Sun Metro property, but in the building in question, there was approximately 40 people that were accounted for at the time of the incident.
And 8 of them injured.
Thank you all.
Okay,
Thank you all.